For decades, cognitive science relied on a specific analogy: the brain as a discrete computational machine, firing data across isolated pathways. But empirical observation shows this model is incomplete. The brain functions as a continuous system, where sensation, memory, and motor planning are mechanically bound. When we examine the data, we find that bodily movement, sensory context, and environmental rhythms change how well we solve problems. Activities brushed off as background noise, like ambient sound, our posture, or the pace of our steps, function as active modulators of the brain's physical state. To understand optimal cognition, we have to move past treating the brain like a static processor and analyze it as an interconnected fluid environment in constant physical motion. This physical approach is formalized in the Brain Kinematics Model. At the core of this framework is a phenomenon known as neural strain flow. Neural strain flow refers to the moving, reshaping configurations of electrochemical and mechanical energy distributed across cortical and subcortical pathways. Thought is the kinematic result of these localized flows, moving, branching, and colliding across neural networks. Because thought is a physical flow, it is highly sensitive to parallel coupling activities running alongside our main cognitive tasks. We engage in these activities constantly, walking during a call, tapping a foot to a rhythm, or controlling our breathing while we focus. These parallel coupling activities are the active physical modulators that dictate our cognitive efficiency. In the Brain Kinematics Model, the quality of cognition depends on the speed and propagation pattern of neural strain flow, specifically the rate of strain flow acceleration. This data table maps specific flow states against cognitive outcomes. At the baseline, a very slow strain flow yields lethargy. Increase that to a moderate, stable flow, and the brain produces focused reasoning. Pushing to the extremes, a fast and synchronized flow generates high creativity. But if the flow becomes excessively accelerated and chaotic, the system fragments, resulting in anxiety. High-level problem-solving relies less on constant speed and more on acceleration, how efficiently the flow can change direction to link distant ideas. Sudden insights correspond to the rapid coupling between previously segregated neural pathways. Two distinct memory networks rapidly accelerate toward each other and merge, producing a transient spike in global neural continuity. Efficient thought generation relies on creating the conditions for this controlled, fluid dynamic acceleration. This explains why walking is a primary tool for problem-solving. Walking continuously generates what researchers term longitudinal circulation. A single stroll introduces a dense wave of sensory inputs: rhythmic proprioceptive feedback from muscles, vestibular stimulation for balance, and the continuous optical flow of passing scenery. Walking acts as a cognitive lubricant. The steady rhythm of the steps pumps low-frequency oscillations into the network, which dissolves localized strain stagnation. By maintaining this ongoing bodily motion, the brain increases longitudinal circulation, which smooths out the physical transitions between different cognitive states. Charles Darwin utilized a daily walking path specifically to work through complex evolutionary mechanisms. Friedrich Nietzsche similarly associated physical locomotion with his ability to generate philosophical insight. Research on feline locomotion reveals the depth of this link. Studies show that a cat's locomotor system maintains persistent working memory-like representations of its environment to guide its movements. If basic movement is this deeply integrated with memory and spatial planning, it follows that higher-level human creativity is an extension of that same foundational system. Physical motion keeps the cognitive field circulating. Music provides a different kinetic function. It influences attention and memory recall through a process known as oscillatory synchronization. The brain produces its own internal neural oscillations. Music injects a highly structured external rhythm into that environment. Within the Brain Kinematics Model, music operates as an external phase wave organizer. When internal strain patterns are fragmented, a steady musical beat provides a physical template, synchronizing the distributed waves. Different audio structures facilitate different cognitive modes. Ambient music stabilizes focus by minimizing erratic frequency spikes, while rhythmic music increases cognitive endurance. Ludwig van Beethoven utilized long rhythmic walks while composing, relying on external physical rhythms to organize the complex architecture of his internal waves. Music is a physical pacing tool. It maintains attentional momentum by doing the structural work of synchronization the brain would otherwise have to perform alone. To map concepts like attention and meaning to their physical realities, we have to look at a property called continuity depth. In this model, raw attention is the concentration and amplification of flow. Focusing physically increases local strain density along a specific pathway. Meaningfulness occurs when those concentrated patterns couple directly with long-term memory and identity systems, creating high continuity depth. This structural reality explains the cognitive impact of outward social behaviors, such as voluntary action and helping others. Choosing to help someone requires the simultaneous activation of empathy networks, social prediction pathways, and internal reward systems. Activating all these networks at once creates richer branching and wider circulation. This multidirectional flow raises the probability that unrelated ideas will collide and combine. We can contrast this active branching with the effects of chronic inhibition, emotional suppression, or purposeless isolation. Continually restraining action or suppressing expression alters the network geometry, creating localized holding patterns and narrowing the flow pathways. This physical narrowing translates subjectively to feelings of heavy or repetitive thinking. Meaningful engagement physically widens the brain's cognitive bandwidth. Conversely, chronic suppression constricts the physical flow of ideas by forcing activity into narrow, high-strain channels. From walking and music to social interaction, we move toward recognizing cognition as a continuously circulating, deeply coupled system. This classification table maps coupling activities to their kinetic functions. Familiar activities have precise roles. Walking provides dynamic circulation stabilization, while music delivers oscillatory synchronization. Quieter states serve equal purposes. Silence provides coherence enhancement, while dreaming permits exploratory branching. Long before modern neuroscience mapped these pathways, Aristotle intuitively utilized the link between external action and internal reason. The external environments we expose ourselves to and the physical rhythms we adopt provide the vital scaffolding that shapes the internal architecture of human logic. This does not mean optimal cognition is achieved by constant chaotic movement or overstimulation. This chart graphs stability against mobility. Too little mobility yields cognitive rigidity. Too much uncontrolled mobility causes fragmentation. The target for cognitive efficiency lies in dynamic balance, an environment that supports moderately fast, synchronized, and flexible continuity. Human thought is a continuously moving continuum of interconnected forces. Speed, controlled acceleration, and synchronization dictate our ability to generate high-level ideas. To think better, we must stop isolating our brains. The solution is to actively curate the physical and sensory flows driving the kinematics of thought.